Great. Look, so I did see that slide with my looks like a copy of my CV on there. But just a kind of bit of background of myself. I've I've spent the last sort of 12 years working in the AML and KYC space, and risk advisory space as well, which is similar to what you guys are doing, for your investigation work for your clients, helping them with regulatory technology and data. I've been pretty much on this side, the vendor space, not actually getting my hands dirty doing the investigations work, but very much working closely with challenges of with sort of AML checks and onboarding, know your business, know your customer, unraveling corporate structures, getting data and information to help with those kind of regulatory and compliance checks. Just to kind of touch on the risk advisory space, I worked for a company called IntegraScreen and more recently a company called Ground Truth Intelligence, and providing those kind of services for those reports, whether it's clients come to us looking for asset tracing type of research and investigation, or whether they're onboarding, or there might be an M&A deal and they need to get some more further due diligence about the company that they're looking to acquire, or vice versa. It could be something to do with source of wealth and things like that. But in my time working with these risk advisory firms, and I'm talking about companies like Kroll and Control Risks, maybe Fact, and these kind of guys that you probably well know. A lot of 9 times out of 10, their analysts and investigators will be using Nexis Diligence to do their reports and do their research. What tends to happen is the analysts, there's a network of people across the globe that have access to this sort of data, do the research, put their logo on it, maybe annotate and put a bit of narrative around the reports, and then they then pass them on to their clients. But ultimately, they're using the Nexis Diligence tool to do the research. So I'm pretty got a kind of good handle about how you guys would be using the data and what have you. Just to kind of set the scene, and this might be a bit kind of I don't want to sort of go over stuff that you're well versed in, but the reasons why clients are using Nexis Diligence is lots of factors, whether it's the regulatory forces or whether it's protecting their reputation. But as we've seen over the course of the last 20 years, that the avalanche of regulations around this stuff is just it's increasing year by year, and more recently with the Supply Chain Due Diligence Act in Germany that we're seeing again, which is going to have an impact across sort of most of Europe in regards to things like ESG pressures and things like that. If I just take an example from the UK side of things, looking at the 4th principle around the sort of performing due diligence and around commercial services, it's all about adopting a more proactive and risk-based approach to due diligence, not a reactive. And what that means is everyone, not just financial services or highly regulated companies, but corporates will need to take this stuff more seriously. If they have a supply chain, are they taking those kind of those risk-based steps to work out geographically, geopolitically, as we've seen in what's happening in sort of Russia and Ukraine and the sanctions? Are they prepared to meet these head on? So why do companies rely on Diligence Plus? So again, I've just covered these. The drivers are the regulatory, the geopolitical, economic instability, complex supply chains, going into sort of more supply chains that might sort of go into sort of third world countries, or countries that might have that might be open or susceptible to things like the child exploitation and things like that. So it's these are the kind of drivers, and these are the kind of things what the regulations are there to try and support, protect. And as I mentioned, yeah, it's moving away from a reactive to more of a proactive approach. And it's not just the fines that you might, you know, that your companies are going to be exposed to, but, you know, as I mentioned before, it's the reputational damage that can come with that can be a lot more fiercer than the fines themselves. So how do we help? Yes, so you'll have to excuse this slide. I apologize for this, but I just wanted to get a slide to kind of give you the workflow of and the cycle of how we help our clients with our Diligence Plus solution. So this was quite quickly knocked up, but what we have here is that kind of this sort of cycle here. So coming from the start, we're onboarding, whether we're onboarding individuals, companies, and also vessels as well, because shipping vessels can be sanctioned. We track and we monitor those as well. And then, you know, however you want to input whether you're building up investigations, or whether you're screening individuals or entities, we can input them on an ad hoc basis. You can log into our system, put in a name, put in a company name or an individual name. You can upload via a spreadsheet, so we can perform batch uploading, or we can do system to system via connections via APIs and what have you. There are two areas where we help our clients in the screening process. So Diligence Plus is a product that's kind of almost like a one-stop shop for that screening process. So we can do that initial check, batch uploading individuals, entities, and do that PEPs, watch, you know, sanctions, global watch lists, state-owned enterprises, and that kind of grey, you know, the white collar type crimes and the financial crime type crimes that are captured by I think it was Matteo, did you say that you're using world compliance right now? That kind of data, inputting them in, screening them against the data sets of world compliance, and then having a dashboard with your results that you can remediate, put in your notes, filter out your false positives, and do all that kind of work. That's one part of it. The next part is the real power of Diligence Plus, and this is kind of what I was talking about earlier on, is that enhanced due diligence. It's going beyond the PEPs, the sanctions, and those global watch lists. It's the adverse news media. It's the ESG, the litigation, criminal and civil litigation, those types of checks that you can do with the platform. With Diligence, you have access to lots of paywalled databases and things. I'll go into those in a minute, but the workflow is the output here is producing those reports. So you have them time-stamped, audit trailed, you have the sources of where you got the information from, and the platform allows you to easily build these reports. Now, risk advisory firms like yourselves are using Diligence Plus for this exact reason, as well as our clients as well. We have large multinationals, global banks that are using Diligence, where their investigation teams are using this because we have access to the broadest set of data, but also the platform allows them to be able to sort of create these reports nice and easily, download them onto their firewall and keep them there for their regulatory purposes and their audit trail. The next part we move into, we also allow our clients and users to add the names for ongoing monitoring. Now, this probably would be more for your PEP sanction checks and things like that. You wouldn't want to have an avalanche of adverse media around, common names and things like that. But that's what you're able to do, and you can configure your dashboards and your output to maybe check them daily, monthly, weekly. But also within your sort of risk-based models, you can put in sort of alerts and things to redo these due diligence reports as well on a maybe biannual basis, or what depending on the level of your risk models are, and what the type of client, where the client's based, the type of business that they're into, and things like that. And then again, the full remediation work that you can do via the platform comes back round to this circle again. I'll just quickly pause there. Does that make sense? The kind of workflow, what it covers, yeah?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Got it, good stuff. Okay, so I don't probably need to go into this too much because you guys sound like you know it, but I just kind of wanted to do a quick slide on, what is due diligence, enhanced due diligence, sorry, and what does it normally entail? So it normally entails both online and offline sources, and to assess the reputation and reliability of an entity or its principles. So it comes in again to the principle side of things now that the expectation is around a lot of that ESG that we're seeing these days. That's becoming a big sort of part of the enhanced due diligence report as well. So again, these are the things that I'm sure that you're probably aware of and that you include in your investigations as well. So moves us nicely segue into what is Diligence Plus and the content that we contain on the platform. So I took notice earlier on to the high level Lexis slide that you saw earlier on, and the data that we have. Nexus has data going back 40 plus years, access to 100,000 publication sources globally. That covers many languages, over 50 languages, I believe, and so from that sort of wealth of that depth and breadth of data that we have access to with these partners, these sources that we have on it, we've built a diligence platform that's more pertinent for people doing this investigation work. So here you've got access to more than 50,000 global news sources. Of those 50,000, I think around about 30,000 of them are paywall ones, so they're sort of primary sort of sources as well. So we remove all of that. Next area, again, you've got the global watches. We've got well compliance, like you've already got, but we've also got Info 4C as well. We have company reports and beneficial UBO data via Dun & Bradstreet, but company reports from Dun & Bradstreet and many others as well. Again, financial stability data from Credit Safe and Experian. Again, all of these paywalls that we remove. And also, as I mentioned before, where our peers just, they don't come close to us really. We've got that litigation, whether civil or criminal litigation checks that you can do globally as well as many sort of biographical when you're doing those individual checks. Just a couple of slides here quickly, again, just sort of emphasizing the partnerships that we have that we can remove by coming to this one source of data to do the investigations. So these are company and financial reports and people data as well. So again, in the people data, it's that PEP sanctioned information as well as litigation across these different providers. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, what does that mean for you? It just means that you've got a one-stop shop, one platform. It's going to save you time. It's going to create efficiencies across your teams that are doing this work. Lots more content, streamlined data, easy to produce reports, download those, and full audit trail. And I think we mentioned before, maybe some of you on the call, we've got Yi on the call as well today, who would probably be best to talk around this. But when we onboard, we will help you obviously train on the product. There's quite a bit to it. There's a lot of data there. So there's a bit of training to learn about the kind of things that you can do with the sort of Boolean searches and filtering and actually sort of setting up the product to build the reports, to standardize them to how you want your reports to look like. And so our customer success team can help with all of that, but also we can provide you with lots of sort of materials and videos and how-tos. Webinars are always available, and then just generally global support on the product. So that's kind of my sort of high level overview of the platform itself. I'll pause there just to make sure that we've kind of covered all the areas, and see if you've got any questions, because I can now move into a demo and give you a kind of, again, a nice little whistle stop sort of tour of that. But I just wanted to see if there's any questions anyone has.
I think that from our side is all clear. So
all clear. Does it sort of marry up to what you were expected to hear from us today? Is there any sort of, is that, you know?
Yeah, the idea how having one shop, sources for all the searchings and so on can speed up immensely, the investigation and diligence process. So that's what we are looking for in a product.
Great to hear. Okay, so look, yeah, the product itself, as I mentioned, we can, the product behind it is available in, you can take it, most of our users are using this front end, but we also have APIs as well, as I mentioned beforehand. So if you did have a platform, or you're looking to create some kind of digital transformation internally, and you're building workflows from, your CRM or your client lifecycle management system, again, this can be plugged into platforms. We're pretty agnostic. We've got a great team that can, talk around how we partner with our clients and how we plug in and integrate. So you can do the screening, you can do the investigations from your own front end. But here is kind of your everyday way to use. As I mentioned before, you can do a person check or a company check. Here we've got some nice tools that if I put in a popular name, for example, John Smith, you can see we've got this suggested feature here that gives you that kind of fuzzy matching for the names as well. So those kind of names where you might have some sort of other iterations of it, you have that. So you could select all 6 or just select that one. Or you can do a company check, and again, you just put your company name in. Shall I use Yara International? Let's try that. Over here, you can select a date range already. Again, to start filtering down. If there's, if you know the company's only been going for a few years, you might want to just filter out the noise straight away and just focus on the last 2 years. And the sources. Now, through my slides I showed earlier on, you can see all the sources that we have here that we spoke around. So for company checks, you may not be interested in certain things like biographical references, or certain areas. You may want to switch off the news because you might just want to focus on the negative news, and then you can just run your search. If you're just using this for PEPs and sanction screening, that initial screening, you can just clear all and just select that, and then that will go through well compliance, through the PEP database, info 4C, etc. Or we select all and we just click on search. From here, all the different data points are being searched for now. So this is what we call our snapshot page. From here, we can get our negative news and our top negative terms. Within the user preferences, our users have access to change those negative terms, add some, remove some, put in that, again, build this all out. So again, our customer support success team will support you in building this all out as well. But we obviously have our own predetermined names. We've got the high ones there, which are going to be obviously things like fraud and embezzlement, those kind of terms. And then we've got some lower ones, medium ones, and things like that. And you can toggle those off and on. But again, you could just sort of see that 12% of those 671 negative news articles are high risk. So you might want to just go and investigate those first. Coming down here, you can see that, again, we've got the ESG ratings. These are provided by CSR Hub. We can go in here and just investigate that further and what we're looking at. Come back to the snapshot. Oops. We can go and see, you know, okay, so this there's no sanctions, which is good, but there are 60 PEPs that are reported within this particular organization. We've got some company sources there, legal sources, credit reports, etc. So where we are now is like, okay, this is the results. This is what Nexis Diligence has found from us. So if I was to follow, if I was going to do some investigation on this particular entity now, it would be to go in and start drilling into the news and finding out whether these articles are to do with my company that I'm onboarding, and just really starting to build a report. And from here on the left-hand side, this is where you can sort of go, right, you know, you can sort of start filtering out your language, the data points. I've mentioned before about your Boolean searches and things. We can filter out and include words, exclude words, terms, etc. We can look into the date ranges. We can go into where the company's mentioned. If it's only mentioned a few times, the article might not really be about it. So we want it sort of, you know, you might want to sort of check into that. Again, where the company's mentioned, the sources. Again, you can filter all of these out. Languages, geography, and the actual the subject matters as well. So there could be things like sports and recreations and things like that. You might want to just filter out all that noise. But again, once you've come in and done your filtering, you can go through the articles. You might be left with a subset of articles here that you need to go and check, where you can preview them, see where they're from, see their relevancy, see if they are, you know, if this is, you know, something that you want to include in your report. So from here, we start building our reports out so we can start adding this information to our report. And up here, you can see, right, well, we've got a couple of articles in there now. Go back to the snapshot and start doing this for the other data sets as well. So from here, the one thing I'm missing from my trial license actually is the Dun & Bradstreet UBO data, but that would be there as well. But again, here we can go and find, you know, so this is from Reuters Direct. You can see all the, you know, the sources of this data. Again, start previewing this data and adding them to your report. Once you've gone through that process and you've filtered out what you want to include, what's not relevant, you can then go to your reports. We can sort of download the report, or it will be in your report builder. I download the report here. We can choose for it to be in PDF or Word. Most of our clients prefer it in Word, so they can add their own narrative or traffic light systems and things like that to it, and then download. That will process that document for you, and you'll find it in your report builder area up here. All of your reports will be available in the system for 30 days. For GDPR reasons, we don't keep all that data on there. It's your responsibility then to take it over to your firewall and keep it on your for your records there. I'll just pause there. That's kind of a high level whistle stop example of how to build a report on Diligence Plus. Any questions? No. Okay. The other couple of features I'd like to sort of just show you really is the entity view. So I mentioned that you can do a check like this, a person check or a company check. The other way is to batch upload a number of entities. If it was for maybe investigating a number of suppliers in your supply chain, that need to be investigated, it could be that, or you could be a lot of individuals of entities that you want to just do a sanctions or PEP check. So all you need to do is just upload, drag and drop a Excel spreadsheet. You can download the template here. I think you only need to put in a few items, you know, the name, it'd be a few, where is it here? So entity name, entity type. If you want to add an alert and where you want the alert to go to, comments, frequency, things like that you can do. But I think the most mandatory fields are the entity name and entity type. I think it's just those two, but I'm willing to be corrected if I'm wrong. Whoops. Bear me a second. How do I get back to? Excuse me for a second. I've lost. How do I close this? There it is. There we are. Right. So, can you see me? Can you see the screen? No, you can see it, yeah?
Yeah, at the moment we don't see the
you can't see it. Right.
You need to share again.
Okay.
We're back.
Again.
Okay. So then you can upload the entities, and then those entities will be uploaded into this view here. And again, this is where you can monitor your list of clients or supply chain. You can toggle these fields around. You can put in your commentary, so you can do your remediation work. But then you can go into each of these entities and do your diligence work for your investigation work. Here, it's a good view to kind of see how many alerts, matches and hits that you've got, all your news, and then you can work from there. One of the only things let me just go to this individual, for example. Setting up alerts, it's quite simple as well. You can do that on your batch upload, as you saw with that spreadsheet, but also for this individual, if I wanted to have a look, if I wanted to create an alert, all I'd need to do is go into one of those, whether it's news or whether the sanctions or watch this, and create alert. From here, you can give it the name, who you want to get the alert sent to, any comments, and what content you want the alerts to be set to. So this might be where you just want to have your sanctions PEP alerts or negative news as well. Here you can choose the frequency and send as an inline text or as a message. I will just pause there before going into the preferences. I mentioned in the preferences, this is where we can just narrow down or open up the product for more fuzzy matching, reduce it in, but you can do that through the user preferences. Does that make sense? Is there any questions at this point? So there's a no. Okay, so here, this is where we can sort of start building, we can sort of map out what you want from the product and what to exclude, what to include, languages. So again, it's just all about sort of, working with your client success team to kind of include, exclude. Here we can edit the negative search terms here. We can do what languages you want to include. This is the sort of negative levels again, as I mentioned. We can if you're not interested in the medium or low, you can take those out. Again, we could do custom news searches like ESG news, and again added in sort of custom terms as well. Here we can toggle with the fuzzy matching. So at the moment I've set it for close match to reduce the false positives, but we can loosen those up if you want to, if you're potentially looking at someone a bit more high risk and you don't want to miss anything. So again, that can be all managed from here in the preferences. In the report builder, this would be in the order that you want the report to look like, and that's pretty much it. I don't think I've got a good report. So again, if I look at a report here, I'm clicking all over the place. Please tell me to stop if you want me to show you something. And then the reports here are all time stamped date stamped, and by who did it. Very important for audit trail, or especially for financial services, anyone that's highly regulated. This kind of information is key from the regulators. So it's kind of a burden of proof of you know, who did what when. All the links are here to the articles. There's no one on the sanctions watch list, but it's you know, the audit trail's there to say that there was no PEPs, no sanctions for these individuals. Come down to all the legal stuff and any lawsuits that they may have been interested in or been involved in, sorry. And again, as I mentioned before, you can have this in a Word document, so then you can you can structure it, put your own commentary in, create your own fonts and templates and things like that as well. And again, adverse media, more adverse media, etc., etc. But you get the gist. Again, it's all sort of, you know, it's all sourced, all the data's sourced, so we know that this company information comes from Dun & Bradstreet on that date when we searched it.